Knowing innocent lives were on the line, they ran to the threat and they did exactly what they were trained to do. All of this knowing that their partner had just been struck by gunfire. The suspect in this case fired approximately 100 rounds at officers and into homes in the area. Last night, each and every one of our officers who responded put their own lives on the line, and they went above and beyond the call of duty, knowing innocent lives were at stake. The quick thinking and heroic actions of our officers saved lives last night. Our thoughts are certainly with the injured officer and his family. We will not be releasing the name of the officer this morning, but I can tell you he's been with the Roseville Police Department for almost 3 years, and he is a well-respected, wonderful officer with our department. He is in stable condition, and we hope to learn more on his condition in the next few hours. Suspect in this case is a 43-year-old white male who lived in the area. His identity will be released following identification from the Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office. Our department has had multiple mental health related calls with this individual, and we know there's going to be questions about that, and we'll be working to get that information out in the next couple of days. Our thoughts are also with the suspect's family this morning as they mourn and deal with their own loss. Our officers are dedicated to serving as guardians of our community and preserving life whenever possible. Unfortunately, our officers had to take deadly force action last night to protect lives in the immediate area. This is not taken lightly. I want to thank all of the other law enforcement agencies who rushed in to help, including Ramsey County Sheriff's Department, the Minnesota State Patrol, Maplewood Police, White Bear Lake Police, St. Anthony, and all the others who rushed to assist us last night. Lastly, I want to thank all of the members of our community who have reached out over the past 12 hours to offer support and their appreciation for our officers. This really is appreciated. Please understand this remains a very active investigation with a crime scene that stretches multiple blocks. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions that we won't be able to answer this morning. One question I'm sure that will be asked is whether we have body-worn cameras. All of our officers have body-worn cameras, and that video has been turned over to the BCA. The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension will be the lead agency on the investigation, and many of the additional details will need to come from the BCA at a later time. With that, I will answer any questions that you might have.
Chief, you can hear it in your voice. One of your officers shot in the face, but he's alive today. Talk to me about his fellow officers that saved his life, and this bullet, he's alive, being shot in the face.
We are so grateful that the officer is doing okay. Anytime you have this serious of an injury in the face, obviously we all were very concerned. This certainly impacted all of our officers as they're all taking their own gunfire, trying to save one of their fellow officers, and also trying to protect the community. So this certainly impacted all of our officers that were involved last night.
Any idea on a motive why this happened? Obviously, numerous multiple mental health calls, but beyond that?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what the motive is and what exactly led up to this event, and we hope in the next few days we'll be able to release more information about those past calls involving this individual.
How would you describe the scene when you guys arrived?
It was a chaotic scene. It was over an hour of gunfire being fired at multiple different residences, different officers, different squad cars. So the BCA is going to be out, we know, for quite a bit of time processing that scene.
Chief, can you put into context a little bit of maybe when was the last time you had contact with the suspect, or how many times and how many X amount of days?
My understanding is there's about 15 past calls for service. I don't have the details on those today, but we will certainly work to get you that information as soon as we can. And we know that there's going to be a lot of questions about those, so in the next couple days we'll work to get that information out.
Do you know when the last time was that your officers had contact with him?
I don't have the specific time that they had contact, but I know that there were recent reports involving this individual.
Chief, just to check on the age, I believe you said 43, the release said 53.
I apologize. I believe it's 53 is correct.
So from 7:30 to 8:30, were you looking for him? They didn't know where he was?
Yeah, during this time that they were there was multiple shots being fired repeatedly. Then there would be a break in time. And the suspect was obviously moving, and so just because of the wooded area, because of the weather, because of the darkness, the officers were unable to locate him, but they could hear and literally feel and see the shots being fired at them and past them during that hour time frame.
And you found a gun with him when he...
The BCA is still processing the scene, and so I don't have that information on what's been recovered at the scene. It's a really large scene. It was a 3-block area with multiple rounds. Right now we believe around 100 rounds, so it's a complex scene, but we hope to have that information, and the BCA will hopefully be able to provide more information in the next couple of days.
Do you know if any neighbors' homes or anyone nearby was hit? Neighbors' homes?
We do know that there was people getting, their homes were struck. We had windows that were being broken out, and we had people reporting that they had rounds being fired into their house. And that's why we put out the alert very early to have people shelter into place.
Had he made any past threats against police or other people?
I don't have the specific details about those past incidents. We do have several mental health related incidents involving this individual and his family.
Do you live in this neighborhood, Chief?
The suspect did live in the neighborhood. We'll be releasing the exact addresses and additional details in the next couple of days on that.
Chief, when those 911 calls originally came in, was he out in the front yard firing? Was he firing from inside the house? Could you just provide a little light on that?
So there were multiple different reports coming in from different people. We did have some that were able to see them. Some of them were just reporting gunfire in the area. They didn't know where the shots were coming from. We did have one person that reported that it was a rifle that they believed he possessed. So we do believe that the suspect during this time was moving around and not just in one stable position.
Did this appear to be an ambush for police officers, or were they the target, or was it hard to determine the target, the intent?
Yeah, we obviously don't know what the intent was. We just know it was fairly quickly after officers arrived that they immediately started taking rounds.
What kind of rifle? A hunting or rifle or assault rifle? Do you know?
I don't have the details on the rifle. The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension will be processing the scene and collecting all of that evidence.
And was it semi-automatic? I mean, was it rapid fire or single shot? Do you know?
I don't have any details on the type of gun that was
Just from
involved.
the sound, though, of the gunfire.
Yeah, I don't have those details, but we'll certainly work to get more information here in the next couple
Can you
days.
confirm where the suspect then was found exactly? Was it in a neighbor's yard? Was it near maybe where he lived?
It was in one of the yards. I don't know specifically the address, but it was in that area. This, as I mentioned, it's about a 3-block crime scene location, and so I don't have the exact location to where he was to his residence when he was encountered by the officer.
But it was in a residential yard, somebody's yard, he was, and ended up being shot.
Correct. This whole crime scene area took place in a residential neighborhood with multiple homes and families.
So, Chief, I know that police rely on emergency medical as their partners. Does the fact that his colleagues scooped him up and put him in a squad car speak to the urgency of the situation? I mean, was it a life and death difference, but those seconds they saved?
Absolutely. Officers did a tremendous job recognizing that the officer needed to get to the hospital as soon as possible, especially being shot in the head. And so they immediately didn't waste any time in getting him loaded into a squad car and down to a hospital as soon as possible.
Chief, you had multiple.
Chief, you got 2 more?
You had multiple agencies on the scene. Can you confirm today if it was a Roseville police officer that shot and killed this suspect?
We know it was a Roseville officer that encountered the suspect, correct.
But at this point, you don't know if the suspect killed himself or if he was shot by a police officer?
Those are things that the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension will need to confirm once they've finished processing the scene.
Was there a gun recovered?
The BCA will be the ones that are processing that. They're still on the scene. We expect it to be a couple days of processing, and they would be the ones to recover the weapon at the scene.
Thank you, everyone. We'll continue to provide additional information as we get that, and feel free to reach out to our contacts, and we'll be happy to provide the information as it becomes available. Thank you for being here.